Rich Johnson, a former U.S. Army officer, is still with us here in the studio. Just before we went on break, you were talking about how the sometimes maybe not sufficient intelligence can show its impact on how the war against insurgency is being prosecuted. And you were just talking about, the small things like having an emergency number.
Correct.
For the people in Lagos State, I'm just reading from them here. They say, oh, their emergency numbers work. Do you think that each state should have its own emergency number? Do you think that would be a very efficient way?
No, it shouldn't be. It should be just one number for the whole country. Irrespective of wherever your location is, you should be able to dial just one number and the closest emergency center will respond. There's only one emergency number in America. You just dial 911. Even if you're in Georgia, or you're in California, or you're in Florida, wherever you are, even if you're in the woods.
But considering just how, difficult, because this has been going on for a while, and you do know that there have been attempts. That's why you talk about the Federal Road Safety Emergency Number, which is supposed to link all the other agencies. There have been attempts to try and get an emergency number that will work for the entire country. But while we wait for that to work, do you think states should really wait if they can come up with their own numbers?
Well, it's because of the failure of the federal government. I have been one of the ardent campaigners for restructuring of this country because I believe there is over-concentration of power at the center. So therefore, the center is distracted, is not focused on the things that it should do, which is part of this emergency thing that we're talking about, protection of lives and property. Our central government is involved in running secondary schools, primary schools, kindergarten, has too much responsibilities that it can't focus on its primary assignment. So where the federal government fails to act, the states should be able to act. So I quite support and agree that whenever the federal government fails to act, states should do whatever it takes to save lives and property in their various states.
But we understand that intelligence is the heart, is the key to fighting any insurgency. Can there be anything like too much intelligence?
There can never be too much intelligence at all. You will continue to gather intel. It's not every intelligence that comes in is credible. That is why you have to spread your tentacles and gather as much intelligence as possible. So that when you sift through the intel that you get, you analyze them, you're able to come up with the intelligence that is credible. More often than not, most of the leads that you get turn out not to be credible. So that's why you have to spread your tentacle very wide to gather as much intelligence as possible. And that intel has to come from the civil population. And we have not done quite a good job in trying to sensitize them and let them know that, look, we're all in this, we are doing this for you, you are a stakeholder in this, it's for your own safety, it's for your own benefit, you should support us and you should help us.
Before now, we used to see a number of campaign ads. I think those were sponsored by the DSS, Department of State Security, trying to sensitize Nigerians on their own part to play in this war against insurgency. But for some reason, though, it's just been absent on our airwaves.
That is because we assume that every Nigerian has a cable network TV. Not every Nigerian does. Most of all these people live in the rural areas. They don't have access to electricity. They don't have cable TV. Some of them don't even have radio. Some that do have telephone have this Nokia Touch that is not a smartphone. So we have to be creative and flexible about this. We have to be innovative about how we sensitize Nigerians. What you're saying is what would have happened in the United States or the United Kingdom, where people have access to electricity and all this gorgeous technology. We don't have that. We're not at that stage yet. So because we're not at that stage yet, and this is a Nigerian problem, so it requires a Nigerian solution. We cannot import America or United Kingdom to Nigeria because they are two different societies.
How long does this campaign have to go on for? Because at that time, they might argue that it was pretty consistent and lots of people should have been sensitized by that time. Do we have to keep running these campaigns for forever?
Well, as long as the challenge persists. Have we eliminated Boko Haram? We have not. There is still terrorism in our land. As long as terrorism continues to exist in our land, we will continue to take every action that is required to end the challenge. Now, I must admit that terrorism is not something that, you just with a wave of hand is all good and all that. There's been a series of researches that have shown that even insurgency takes at least 20 years on the average to end it. So it's not going to go away overnight. But we cannot stay and do nothing. We must do something. We must continue to deal with the challenge until we can reduce it. Reduce it to a level that it does not pose threat to our existence, it doesn't pose threat to our economy. If we don't do that, then we as long as we're not at that stage, we have to continue to do something.
Having served in the U.S. Army, and I'm sure that you might have some friends in the Nigerian Army as well, and if you don't have, I'm sure you see them on the road,
right.
Trying to ensure that people are kept safe. What are some of the things, coming from your experience as a former Army officer, what are some of the things you think should be provided for these officers to continually motivate them to, be inspired to continue this battle against insurgency?
Well, I do have some friends in the Nigerian military, and sometimes when I'm driving around and I meet them, I do get out of my vehicle and introduce myself to them, shake hands with them, try to understand, what they're going through. There's still a lot more to be done for them. Even when you look at the way they're kitted, they're not properly kitted. If you look at some of the...
They're not properly kitted?
No, not properly kitted at all. Some of them do have to buy their own uniforms sometimes. I've written quite extensively on how we can improve the welfare of our service members, not just only the military, those in the police, those in the DSS. There are so much that we can do for them to boost their morale, so that way they can give their best in this fight.
And this is not just about governments. Nigerians also have a role, everyday Nigerians?
Well, Nigerians have a role to be law-abiding citizens, pay their taxes if they have to pay tax. So everybody has a role. It's not security is a responsibility of everybody. So everybody has a role to play in ensuring security. But like I was saying earlier, we can't import U.S. solution or UK solution to a Nigerian problem. We have to have a Nigerian solution to a Nigerian problem. And those of us who were born here, but we were privileged to have served in those military, those advanced military, and I'm not alone. I have a cousin that served in the Royal Army. I have a friend that served in German military, and that they're all here in Nigeria. I think that the Nigerian government should avail themselves the opportunity to seek our expertise, because not only that, we were born here, but we served there. So we acquired experience there, but we understand the culture here. So what you have to do is to marry the experience and the culture, and you come up with a home-made solution. By the way, I have one on how we can get the civil population involved. But so if the NSA, the National Security Advisor, General Mongono, retired, or his people are watching, they should get in touch. They can call Channels Television or call any other network. And we sit down. I would like to share my idea with them. It's not everything that that you put out on air.
Definitely not. And we do hope that, they would be willing to make use of the resources. But we have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. Captain Bish Johnson is a former U.S. Army officer. Sunrise Daily will continue in just a moment. Please stay with us.